Fred, I thought we might talk today about the musical concepts of euphony and groove.
I'm always happy to talk with you, Tom. And as you know, euphony and groove are among my favorite topics.
Fabulous. So let's begin. First of all, tell me about euphony. What is it all about and why is it important in music?
Well, Tom, euphony means wellness of voice, and I understand it to refer to music's pitched content. Euphony refers to the contours and shapes of melody, the effect of harmony, and even the texture of a music's timbre or tone color. Euphony refers to all of these things. In fact, I would go so far as to say that euphony is music's prime mover.
That's helpful, Fred. So as I understand you, euphony refers to the pitched content of music. Euphony is the tune we whistle and remember, the chordal harmony that brings us from a major key to a minor one, and the tonal color that allows us to distinguish between two different musical instruments playing the same pitch.
Precisely, Tom. As I said, I think that euphony is music's prime mover. But of course, this is only one side of the story. Tell me about groove, Tom. I know you are quite interested in groove, being a percussionist and all.
Boom 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 bada 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 bada. Ah, yes, groove. At the risk of offending your tuned sensibility, Fred, I'd submit that groove, and not euphony, is in fact music's prime mover.
Go on, Tom, you human beatbox you.
Groove refers to music's temporal organization and can mean many things along these lines. Groove can refer to music's meter or organization of beats into groups. So we can say that much popular music has a 4/4 groove or meter. Groove is also used colloquially to refer to the way in which a group of musicians interact with one another to produce an interlocking and cohesive rhythmic whole. Like the way a good jazz band has a strong groove.
I always love a good jazz band.
As do I. Groove can also refer to an individual musician's time sense or even a specific rhythmic pattern such as a swing or samba groove. Finally, groove is that mysterious kinetic energy that can compel us to move, tap our feet and even dance. It's what the poet Leopold Senghor called the most perceptible and least material thing.
A fantastic summary of groove, Tom. Thank you. But let's cut to the chase. Do you think groove is more crucial to music's health than euphony? I get the sense from you that perhaps that is so. Would you like to elaborate?
That's a tough question, Fred. On the one hand, if we consider music from a global perspective, there's no question that groove appears to be the engine of more musical cultures than is euphony. If we were forced to generalize, groove seems to be something universally accessible, universally useful and universally functional. On the other hand, euphony unites us too, if even we only consider how musicians the world over use their voices together to make themselves well through singing and harmonizing. What's your take on it, Fred?
Well, Tom, while I cannot argue with your observations about groove, I think that euphony might just have the edge in terms of its ability to affect us. For example, in the Turkish art music tradition, a music I know well by the way, euphony finds infinite shades and gradations of meaning through the many different makam scale structures and the many ways we can explore those structures through an improvisational technique called taksim. In this context, Tom, we can go far beyond the Western major and minor scales into geographies of deep euphony.
Well, surely there are geographies of deep groove too, Fred, are there not?
No doubt, Tom. But perhaps we should remind viewers that unless you are well versed in the intricacies of a musical culture's euphonies or grooves, it's hard to appreciate their magic. In the end, both of these musical attributes are pathways to transcendence, are they not?
I'm with you 100%, Fred. Isn't it funny though, how often we judge a music by its euphony or its groove, or its lack of one or the other? It seems to me that our musical tastes rarely run right down the middle of euphony and groove. Usually we either love or hate a groove-centric or euphony-centric music. It makes me wonder about how we project our values, desires and anxieties into euphony and groove. These musical attributes are a little like sonic research tests. They mean what we want them to mean.
An interesting idea there, Tom. Sonic research tests. What do you mean by this?
What I mean is that perhaps we have inherited a set of musical values, a musical hierarchy, a way of judging music based on the degree to which it is either euphony or groove-based. We don't mean to do this, but we do it instinctively when we encounter a music for the first time. And then we defend our musical preferences in terms of so-called personal taste.
Right. So we can say, I find the winding melodies of Turkish classical music quite boring. Or that I love the grooves of electronic dance music. But Tom, surely euphony and groove aren't neutral things?
No, you're right, Fred. They're certainly not neutral things. Each has its own kind of effect for sure. But I'm simply pointing out that we all come to musical experience with our own conceptual and cultural baggage. So in a way I feel sorry for euphony and groove because we invest them with so much meaning.
Well, Tom, maybe in the end musical experience is the kind of mirror we hold up to ourselves to help us to better understand our nature, our human nature.
Now that is a euphonious note on which to end. Thank you, Fred, for our dialogue today. There is certainly much to think about through the concepts of euphony and groove.
Do re mi fa sol la ti do. You're welcome, Tom. Peace out.